Hello and welcome to our What is Splunk Attack Analyzer webinar as part of our What is Splunk webinar series. My name is Jake Hammercott and I'm a technical consultant here at Somerford. I've been with the company coming up to 3 years now, and I specialize almost exclusively with Splunk and kind of the Splunk security stack, and I dabble with a couple of our other cybersecurity vendors as well. So today we're going to be talking all about Splunk Attack Analyzer. This is very much like an introduction to what the product is, what it does, why it could be beneficial for you, and we'll talk about a couple of the pros and cons of integrating Attack Analyzer into your environment. But before we do that, I've got a couple of slides on more general slides, at least, on Splunk as a solution itself. And who we actually are, here at Somerford. So yeah, starting off with a little bit about Splunk. We are we are the largest Splunk certified delivery team in EMEA. We have been a partner since, I believe, 2010. So we've been working with Splunk for a very long time. And what is Splunk? Splunk, the kind of more general product, is there to collect and ingest data regardless of format or source, whether it's structured or unstructured, and that can come from, again, any source. So we see a lot of data typically coming from websites, applications, servers, networks, endpoints like mobile devices, firewalls, kind of infrastructure, critical infrastructure, basically anywhere that you are generating data from. You could then theoretically collect that and collate it within Splunk. And kind of the purpose of doing that and having various sources of data coming in and being stored and formatted and ingested into a single solution is to allow all of your different teams or departments or users to access and utilize the data that is relevant to them, and that's going to allow you to identify like data patterns, provide metrics, diagnosing problems, providing intelligence for business operations, and of course, me being involved with security, you quite often see a lot of security content coming out of Splunk as well, and a lot of security outputs. So whether that's threat hunting or incident management and investigation, and Splunk can kind of house all of that. And then a little bit on who we are at Somerford Associates. We partner with a ton of different industry leading technologies, and we provide kind of support in the form of licensing and professional services and kind of more general support. And that covers tons of different use cases. So we've got a couple listed here, things like data security, cloud migrations, DevOps. More relevant today is that threat detection and response, and a whole host more. Having that elite partner status is really important because it allows us as an organization to provide you that end-to-end delivery. So that's starting from day one with the design side, moving forward and actually going through implementation, and then supporting you once that implementation is finished. We've got experience in tons of different, very varied large-scale deployments, which, as you can imagine, have very complex architectures and infrastructures, and that's both in the public and private sector. A lot of our consultants are dedicated to having security clearance ranging from SC up to DV, and that's a part of our professional services team. And then our project managers are qualified in both Prince2 and Agile methodologies. So yeah, I've just got this slide here, which is a big long list of all of our different partners, but we host or we're partnered with the security side, observability, IT operations, a little bit of IaaS, some SaaS products as well. So regardless of what you're looking to do with IT, the chances are that there is a vendor or a partner of ours that might be beneficial for your organization. So yeah, just to list a couple of our larger customers, or at least larger in terms of infrastructure and deployments. It's very varied when it comes to industry. And again, that sits both in the public and private sector. Anyway, I'm now going to start talking about Attack Analyzer because, again, that's the interesting part of today's webinar. Before I go into a live demo, I just want to kind of go through a couple of different talking points so we can all get up to speed on what Attack Analyzer is, who's interested or who might be interested in Attack Analyzer, who will use it, why you'd use it, and a couple of different things that it offers. And I'm going to start with the what it is because that's probably the most important one. Attack Analyzer is fundamentally, it was formerly TwinWave, but now kind of sits in the Splunk security stack. It is a completely standalone product, so it doesn't require any Splunk license or Splunk core to be utilized, and is a tool that focuses on the analysis and investigation of any malicious content. So that could be phishing attacks, that could be malicious URLs, that could be malware, but it aims to handle and take on the entire investigation stage through an automated process that leverages a couple different engines, which we'll get over. Apologies if you can hear cars running next to a very busy road, but it's there to handle all of that investigation so that your analysts or SOC teams, threat hunting teams, can focus on the important bit, which is, handling those true positives and working, exclusively on remediation or prevention. So it's there to decrease the time taken to investigate these malicious contents. And of course, as part of any kind of SOC team, time is one of your most valuable resources. And kind of going in hand with that is manpower as well. So Attack Analyzer is there to lift that burden from your analysts. The who would be interested in Attack Analyzer or who would use Attack Analyzer kind of follows on quite nicely. Typically your SOC teams, threat hunting teams, or security analysts, depending on kind of your security departments. And it's there to, again, offer that a new method for automated threat detection and analysis. And it's going to use technical forensics to allow analysts to pick up incidents or tickets, or as Attack Analyzer calls them, jobs, to empower an analyst to fully understand those active threats. And it's just going to be there to improve detection efficiency. And finally, we've got the why, and I've kind of dabbled with this with the what section as well. Users can quickly act on insights and forensics from Attack Analyzer, which is going to drastically reduce the time needed to investigate and then analyze potential threats. Anyway, time for a bit of a demo because that's what we're all interested in. If I move across here, I've got access to a demo tenant of Splunk Attack Analyzer, which means, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to upload any resources of my own, but we've got a whole host of them just listed below. Before we look into an investigation that Attack Analyzer has completed, just talking a little bit about the UI. So this is the Attack Analyzer homepage, and as a Attack Analyzer customer, you get your own dedicated tenant. Splunk themselves handle all of the infrastructure, so you just gain access through this web page here. At the very top, we've got a method of getting data into Attack Analyzer. It's one of the main big three ways of getting data in, and that's via like a web submission. So I could input a URL here or drop files, and I can mess around with advanced settings as well, where I can select very specific engines to be used during investigation, or I can pass passwords across, or select specific web analyzer parameters, like things like internet region and the user agent used. And an engine in Attack Analyzer is almost like a little microservice or a microprocessor, where each of these handle very specific tasks or detections depending on the type of content, or as again, Attack Analyzer calls them, resources that are seen during an investigation. So some of them are exclusive to URLs, some both URLs and files, and we've got a whole host of file-only engines. These are just the engines that come out of the box. There are additional third-party integrations that can be brought into Attack Analyzer as well. So if you've already got some solutions that pair nicely, you can absolutely bring that into Attack Analyzer, which will then be automatically used during investigation. But if I move back and scroll down a bit, we get a list of our completed jobs. And a job is literally just the listing or the dedicated page for the results detections of a specific resource that's been sent to Attack Analyzer. I can filter these down to, my submissions, user submissions, which would be from the kind of web-based submissions here. The other two big submission types are kind of those API ones. So typically that will be from an integration with some sort of SOAR product. Maybe it's Splunk SOAR. Maybe you have a different SOAR product. And the third is email submissions. So upon getting a Attack Analyzer license, you get a dedicated Splunk Attack Analyzer email address that when that receives content, it will automatically pass it over to the actual tenant so that investigation can be automated. So if an end user, finds a suspicious email, they could report that, which could then be forwarded to Attack Analyzer or the Attack Analyzer email address, which will then pass it to the actual tenant. But today, I'm just going to be looking at the very top listing here, this mobile activation.eml. We can immediately see that the max score of this investigation was 100. And I like to think of scores as like a percentage confidence that Attack Analyzer has that this is malicious. So 100 is the absolute maximum. And we can see here that the verdict already is a phish. And we can see the number of resources found in this investigation. So that started from just one, which I can show off upon loading the actual job. We started off from just uploading this email to Attack Analyzer. From there, it spotted a attachment which was downloaded. That attachment was password protected, so it was then decrypted. Within that PDF file, there was a QR code which was scanned, which took us to a separate web page which contains two different URLs. Clicking on one of them took us to this sign-in page, and the other actually led to a zipped download. So that was downloaded, and then it was executed and ran and investigated both statically and dynamically to find out, exactly what that file is trying to do. All of this, and I love seeing these statistics because it just kind of blows my mind. All of this was completed in 7 minutes from Attack Analyzer starting this job. So within those 7 minutes, it accessed 3 separate URLs and went through 5 different files. And the files there, you might think, oh, that doesn't sound like we went through 5 files, but it's counting the zipped or the encrypted files as one, and then the decrypted ones as another. So that's where we get the kind of duplicates. So we've got the initial email, this mobile login activation PDF, which took us up to 3. And this is zipped payload as well, which takes us to 5. If I scroll back up to the top, as an analyst accessing this completed job, I can get some immediate information. Again, we've got the maximum score, which again is 100, which, warning signs should be everywhere now. Sorry, pardon me. The verdict of the analysis, so Attack Analyzer is classing this as a phish or a phishing attempt. The malware family of any executable files or files found, and the brands that have been used in this phishing attempt, along with some extra bits of context with some hashes and times of submitted, different files types, file sizes. Anyway, scrolling down to the real meat of the investigation, By default, you'll be taken to this consolidated kind of summary of the investigation, which will show off every single detection that each of our different engines picked up on for each of the different resources within this investigation. So over our 8 different resources, there were 55 detections. Not all detections necessarily mean bad. You can see that they're all assigned a score. So the web analyzer for this specific resource immediately went, this is a 100, this is definitely phishing, because it detected Microsoft phishing attempts. And I can break these down to find out exactly how it's come to that conclusion. So we can see image matches, page titles that are commonly observed in phish kits. These detections are really thorough. If I want to go through the process that Attack Analyzer's actually done, I can do this because each of these resources are kind of split into their own section, which we can see in the long menu on the left. So if I start off, I can see what was uploaded to Attack Analyzer. The outputs of Attack Analyzer range quite dramatically depending on the engine that is completing some form of investigation or analysis. So things like the email analyzer and a couple of the different Windows sandboxes will take photos and screenshots of everything that they see. So this is ultimately the initial file that was uploaded to an Attack Analyzer, where a user is being asked to download a file, a PDF file, and follow some instructions to head to a new Office 365 login. They've been given an activation code, which is a password for that first encrypted file. But if I scroll up, I can see the detections associated with this, and actually it's just one. It's just that the email contains suspicious sender. So yeah, maybe this sender is suspicious, and you know, it's Attack Analyzer is a little bit wary. We've got a score of 50 for this, with the attachment being there as well. You can see that there's other engines that have been involved in this resource, but they had no detections. So the static file analysis didn't come up with anything. The antivirus and Yara didn't come up with anything either. We then move on, or Attack Analyzer has moved on, downloaded the file. At this point, it is still encrypted, and it's requiring this A1222323 activation code to decrypt. So at the moment, there's still nothing particularly scary, or nothing absolutely that's an absolute certainty that this is bad. But then Attack Analyzer passes. So each of these engines talk to each other, which I find really cool. So the password, or that activation code, was passed between resources and between different stages of this investigation to then access and decrypt and open up that PDF file, which again just means that we haven't needed any human interaction or intervention to actually continue this investigation. And we can see here that we've got, you know, a lovely QR code. We can see that because there's this screenshot of saying, look for a similar prompt to the one below, we can see that immediately Attack Analyzer has highlighted that this is Microsoft. It's got a very high, or a high match confidence that this is Microsoft, and that's adding in this extra detection here, where this is, yeah, likely a QR code low PDF document. We've matched this image here to Microsoft. If we scroll down further, in fact, we can see the individual kind of components of the PDF that have been extracted. So yeah, it's added that up, and you can see that our detections are like an aggregate. So these have been added together for this specific resource, which is giving us this score of 90 here. And in fact, it's not just resource, it's resource and our engine. So actually this 90 has come explicitly from the static doc analysis of this stage. Anyway, Attack Analyzers correctly picked out that QR code and scanned it. And attackers will quite often, or have been seen to, include QR codes in phishing attacks, because that increases the likelihood that the end user or the victim or the target will be then using a device that is not secure. It could be, you know, it could be my own mobile phone. I've got to this on my computer, like my work laptop, and then I've seen this QR code and I've gone, oh, okay, I don't have a work phone, so I'm just going to scan that with my home phone. Which is immediately taking this attack outside of the security controls that you'd find from our, you know, internal security. So anyway, we've moved on to this page here, which upon loading gives us this lovely little message saying activation complete, click to begin testing. An attacker is going to do something like this to halt or stop tools like Attack Analyzer or similar to Attack Analyzer from continuing their investigation. However, Attack Analyzer picks up on this, clicks, and can now access the page. So again, we've got to this stage, absolutely zero human intervention needed. There's a couple kind of varied detections here, and we've got some examples of kind of those contextual detections, which add 0 score, but could be useful to an analyst during investigation. So things like contains login or sign in the title. It's not massively suspicious. In fact, Attack Analyzer doesn't find that suspicious at all. But it's good to note that it's just, again, that extra context. Again, apologies. I'm just recovering from a little bit of a bug. So I've got that little tickly cough at the moment. Afterwards, Attack Analyzer is working through these 2 links found in this page. One of them, as we saw earlier, is this sign-in page, which is immediate, massive red flags. This is where we're getting those max scores of 100 for multiple different detections, because this is in fact a fake Microsoft Office 365 login page. So likely credential harvesting. Almost, actually exclusively credential harvesting. That could be the end of our investigation. We could go, okay, yeah, they're trying to get our login details. However, if I move back to this, sorry, not this one, this web page here, we've got this downloadable file as well. So in fact, our investigation hasn't finished. And even though Attack Analyzer has now given us the verdict that this is a phish, it's going to continue the investigation. It's not done. It's got this second link, which is just a file download with a zipped file, and we can see actually the password was archived from the web analyzer. So that's how we've got the password and been able to unzip this file afterwards. Because again, our different engines talk to each other. And in fact, before it's even unzipped, we can see that there's some signatures that ClamAV is not happy with, which is giving us this big nasty score of 70. And then finally, the file is unzipped and it's brought into a couple of our different engines. So things like our static file analysis, both our Windows 7 and 10 sandboxes. Those are the 2 that are available out of the box, but you can integrate your own sandbox environment. Maybe you exclusively use Linux, so you need to have a Linux sandbox. You can absolutely integrate that into Attack Analyzer. And if I look at screenshots of this file being run, because again, Attack Analyzer will pick up screenshots, it's not going to show us anything, and that's because this is like a Trojan virus. In fact, we can see specific detections that show us that actually this is trying to hide itself, and gives us a really good idea of what it's doing. It's sniffing keystrokes. So this is likely some form of spyware that's going to try and get the same results or even better results than this malicious sign-in page we've got, because not only is it going to try and steal your Office 365 password, it will try and steal absolutely anything that's confidential. It will be sent to sent externally so that an attacker has access to all that information. I've been looking exclusively in the resource summary tab at the moment, but there is tons more data that's available to you or an analyst for any investigation. So that's things like the resource details, which includes tons of data on file metadata, exit metadata, tons of metadata. Apologies, I'm rushing through these a little bit just so we can keep on time. Network traffic, network data, system, and finally strings and configs, although there's not going to be particularly anything here because it's a file. But if I move back to, say, a web page, we can see that we've got a couple more strings and configs. But yeah, that's a really quick showcase of Attack Analyzer and how Attack Analyzer works. You might have noticed beforehand that we've got this interactive web and sandbox kind of options for when you're doing these web-based submissions. And they are there for a couple reasons. One being, as an analyst, you might want to go and get hands-on with whatever's been sent to Attack Analyzer. The other one being that one of the very few limitations of Attack Analyzer is captchas, which are there to, prove the authenticity of the end user and prove that they are a human, which unfortunately Attack Analyzer is not, which means you can, but you still have the option to launch it in an interactive way so that as an analyst, you can go in, fill out the captcha, and then let Attack Analyzer just continue and pick up from where you've left off. So yeah, we've gone over a little bit of a live demo. I've created this little kind of flow chart of how Attack Analyzer kind of works at a very high level, and this is a very high level overview of how it works. But yeah, we've got our three main submission types, which then get pushed to Attack Analyzer, which will then schedule a job for the resource. So that's whatever we've uploaded. Our engines are then going to run those specific tasks on the resource where appropriate. It's going to document our detections and assign scores. It's then going to check to see if new resources have been discovered. If they have, it's going to go back and do the same for them and continue in this loop until it's happy that there's nothing else to go through. Important to note that Attack Analyzer will skip resources that are completely unnecessary to investigate. Like if there was a legitimate link to Microsoft's landing page, Attack Analyzer isn't going to pick that up and attempt to investigate something that is verified that it's not malicious. But once all of the resources have been worked through and investigated, the job is deemed complete. So results are documented and normalized, and then that overall score is assigned, and that's just the highest score of any resource in the investigation. So wrapping up, we've had a very quick tour and guide and explanation of Splunk Attack Analyzer. If you'd like to learn more, I've done a couple other webinars that are available on our website, specifically about Attack Analyzer. There's also really good documentation on the product. But if you have any questions at all, please let us know. Either enter them in the chat or send us an email at info@somerfordassociates.com. And this is a massive kind of project that we're working on at the moment. I think we're having 14 separate parts of the What is Splunk kind of webinar series. So if there's any other part of Splunk that you're interested in, absolutely have a look, see what we've got available for you. And again, thank you very much for attending. Any questions, please let me know, either through chat or email. But if not, have a brilliant rest of your day.